Hello, welcome to another segment of Smoke Signals. I'm your host for today's show, Lieutenant Chris Taylor from the LaGrange Fire Department. On today's show, we have with us Michelle Cornett with the Allstate Insurance Company talking to us about community awareness and personal safety. So stay tuned, we'll be right back. Welcome back. Today we have with us Michelle Cornett with the Allstate Insurance Company. Welcome to the show, Michelle.
Thank you, Chris. It's a pleasure to be here.
We'd like to thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule to come out to be on Smoke Signals, and hopefully we'll get an opportunity to have you to come again in the future.
Thank you. I look forward to it.
Now, we have a lot to talk about today. First, before we talk about our topics, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been in the insurance industry?
Yes, I have been in the insurance industry going on 18 years plus.
Okay.
Here at Allstate, we've been in LaGrange 15 years at our location.
Okay.
We have a combined staff of 3 licensed agents,
Okay.
and we also have 2 financial representatives that have a combined years in the business of 50 years plus.
Wow.
Together.
Okay.
We do everything for customers from quoting their homeowners and their auto insurance to their boating, motorcycles, and also a personal umbrella policy, which is kind of a coverage for everything.
Okay.
And we pride ourselves in being able to also offer financial planning that includes sitting down with couples on estate planning,
Okay.
as well as doing life insurance,
Okay.
protecting a person's income.
Okay, just a jack of all trades, basically.
We like to think of ourselves that way.
Well, and that's good. Today we're going to be talking about community awareness and personal safety, which is very, very important. Both of them work hand in hand together. But first we're going to start talking about community awareness. Now, as far as community awareness, let's talk about just some of the programs and services that you all offer in the community.
Well, I know the reason why we have met each other is because I came to the fire department and asked, how can I help?
Right.
And you had said, perfect timing that day. I've been helping with the smoke detectors and getting them placed in homes that were unable to get them installed previously.
Right.
So I'm very proud of that, and it is one of the best feelings I have here in LaGrange, being able to help do that.
Right.
And I look forward to many years of hopefully preventing and getting some lives saved by having it installed.
And that's what's important, and we thank you once again from the LaGrange Fire Department for your commitment to serve and assist us with providing smoke alarms so that we can put those in the homes in the community that through our smoke alarm program. And because one of the most important things that we always try to stress to the community is to make sure that they have working smoke alarms in the home, because working smoke alarms, they do save lives.
Correct.
And you know, not only that you need to have a working smoke alarm, but you need to check it to make sure it's working properly and provide the proper maintenance on them as well.
Make sure those batteries are up to date.
Exactly.
Make
sure
they're
those batteries
working.
are up to date. Now, since we're talking about services, can we talk a little bit about, as far as insurance premiums, a little bit about that and how the insurance premiums work, especially in situations involving certain types of incidents that may come across your office?
Well, when we do a quote for a customer on their homeowner, we always ask if there's deadbolts, fire extinguisher, and smoke alarms. Those are automatic discounts.
Okay.
Some further discounts that you can get are having a burglar alarm installed. On the higher end, we also have a discount if you have a sprinkler system in your home.
Right. Okay. And that is something that is kind of fairly new to a lot of people across the country, but that is something that we see that's, you know, going to be, you know, a part of the safety process when it comes to personal safety and fire safety in the homes, because our #1 goal is to save lives.
Correct.
All right, and also let's talk about some other safety factors, including emergency situations in the home. What are some other things that people can have in the home to protect themselves or to get information when there is a certain type of emergency?
Well, we strongly recommend having the NOAA radio. Make sure you have your batteries checked for that, but a NOAA radio can certainly, when all power goes down, help with making you aware of where the weather's coming from. In case of fires, we strongly recommend a ladder on a 2-story home.
Okay.
Keep it stored somewhere close by.
Right.
Have a plan with your family on the exit route so you know which window upstairs you'll be using, or have a plan if it's a large home, have 2, and err on the side of precaution and preparedness.
And when you're talking about having a fire escape plan, it's very important that everyone in that home understands that plan and is practiced frequently, because you never know when a fire is going to occur, and you want to make sure that you provide the necessary information for those individuals who may have some kind of disability, and you want to make sure you have a plan included for those individuals. And a lot of times when I talk about having an emergency escape plan in the home, I tell people not only you need to have a plan in place for your family, but guests as well. Because if you have children that have, other kids that spend the night and things of that nature, everyone that comes to your home need to be familiar with that fire escape plan, because, if a fire happens, everybody needs to know where the exits are.
Correct.
Need to know where the fire extinguisher is possibly located. And, anything else that needs to be known about that fire escape plan.
Correct.
And, not to mention, having a place where everyone can meet after they escape the home. That is very, very important, because by having that meeting place outside of the home, you can do a head count to find out if everyone is out.
Correct.
And if not, they can let the firefighters know that, hey, someone still might be inside of the home.
Correct.
All right. Now, we talked about some of the services that are provided in the community. Now, there was something that you mentioned to me earlier about a special event that you all participate in.
Yes, we sponsored the Patty Teever Tennis Classic last year for the American Cancer Society. It was a great feeling to deliver $6,000 plus for the benefit, and this year we're looking forward to it. We are going to have it August 24th, 25th, and 26th. It kicks off Friday night with of course, some tennis play. It's all in fun. There's music on the courts. There's some dancing.
I'm not a great tennis player, so.
It's a lot of fun. There'll be dancing on the courts. We have Huckleberry's catering the chicken dinners, so there'll be tickets sold outside the tournament if folks just want to come and have a good time, and there's also a silent auction.
Okay, and silent auction can be great sometimes, because people go in and whatever it is that you're auctioning off, they give
we had wonderful, wonderful gifts last year.
Okay. And what's normally the turnout for that?
Actually, last year was a record crowd. We had 120 players that played, so we had family members there, and we had friends come to turn out.
Now, is that local tennis players, or that from a geographical area?
Well, we actually had a crowd come from Columbus, and
good.
we had a crowd come from Noonan, but the majority of the players are local, and the whole event is at the McCluskey Tennis Center, right across from LaGrange High.
Okay, great. Now, services. Any other services that would you like to bring to the attention of our viewers, of something that you want them to be aware of as far as being an insurance agent, and letting them know some of the things that are also beneficial to them by just making a phone call or coming in and getting a quote?
Well, what we find is the most value for the customer is know what you have, know your coverages. At our office at the Cornett Agency, we have set aside time, we do reviews. Clients come in, we make sure everything's up to date. For the audience, if you don't know your insurance agent, you should, and you should get to know them. It should be a personal relationship.
Right.
We protect what matters most to them, whether it is values of their home and property or of their lives itself.
Right.
So Changes do happen. Keep your insurance agent abreast of it to make sure you're always fully covered.
Right. And when you talk about policies, there are a lot of times people get insurance policies and they may not read it totally and not really know what their coverage actually is. And then when something catastrophic happens and they try to file a claim, well, you know, the sad thing about it, they may not be covered in the area that they're actually filing a claim for.
It is not a good feeling when clients think that they have coverage and they didn't go over their policy or they didn't ask the question. Knowing what you have and what's covered is a huge asset to doing proper planning. But yes, do a review of your policy, go over it with your agent. I strongly encourage, if you're looking at your policy and you have questions, we are open. Please give us a call. We'll be happy to go over it with you.
Okay. And what's the number there at your facility?
706-885-0646.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Now, we've covered a lot of information concerning community awareness and the services that you all provide and the relationship that we have with you all, too, as far as the LaGrange Fire Department. We talked about the smoke alarm program that you are instrumental in providing for us, and we definitely, once again, appreciate you for that.
You're quite welcome.
But also, you provide coloring books or activity books for us to give out to the schools and at community events that we participate in. Can you tell us a little bit about those activity books that you have?
The activity books are the most fun. We even have children coming in periodically with their parents, and it's a lot of fun. They're excited to get them. It goes over fire safety for an age level that they can understand.
Right.
The stop, drop, and roll, how to follow a path to a doorway in heavy smoke, things that even young children should know what to do,
right,
so they don't panic.
Exactly. And of course, some other things that I've seen in the activity book talks about lighters and matches. Those are tools for grown-ups, and children should never touch those. If they see them, they need to tell a grown-up to put them in a place, in a safe place. It also talks about distinguishing what's hot, what's cold, so that they don't touch hot things. And it also talks a little bit about when their clothes catch on fire, the proper procedures of doing that. One of the biggest things is making sure that they cover their face, because, you know, if your clothes is on fire, you could get burned or you could breathe the smoke. So covering your face is very important. And I think these are things that not only the kids can read it and they can share this information, or they can go over this information with their families, but we also teach that same information in the schools. And we appreciate those coloring books, because I think those coloring books, we probably reach over 3,000 children every year.
I think last year, I think that's how many we were able to distribute.
Right, exactly. All right, well, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to have more on smoke signals here with Michelle Cornett. Welcome back. We've been talking here with Michelle Cornett from the Allstate Insurance Company about several things concerning community awareness and also emergency preparedness and personal safety. So now, Michelle, we've talked about the community awareness side of it. Let's talk about emergency preparedness and personal safety. Emergency preparedness is something that people need to take more heed to when it comes to storms or any other type of catastrophic event that could happen in our community or in our state. So let's talk about emergency preparedness and some things that people need to have on hand when there's a possibility of some type of catastrophic event taking place.
Well, we've certainly noticed more prevalent storms in the last 2 years.
Yes.
Especially across the southeast. When we are in line for a storm now, you know it's coming, you can hear the alarm, turn that NOAA radio on, get an idea exactly how far away you are from it.
Right.
Having an emergency kit is very important. Have it in the home, stored where you can grab it, and of course have a plan where you're going to meet in the house.
Okay.
Flashlights, any emergency lighting. We know we're going to
Yes.
lose our power.
Yeah, definitely,
Hopefully
flashlights, because we always stress that it's better to have flashlights in an emergency situation than candles, because unattended candles could cause fires, but having a flashlight gives you that added safety that you need.
Correct. And besides the flashlights, some food provision,
Okay.
Especially in homes where you might have a member of the family that might be diabetic.
Right.
Have some rations prepared that are easy to get to, that if you have to go several hours to a day, you'll have something to fall back on.
Right, and also not to mention water, because water is a major necessity to the body. And I don't know how true it is, but I've always heard, the experts, I couldn't think of the word, the experts say that the body can survive without food more than it can without water.
Correct,
So,
I've heard that.
So, it's good to have plenty of water on hand. And especially in a storm-related situation, they require you to have water at least for 2 to 3 days, so that you have plenty of water. And that water is not only for drinking purposes, but is also for bathing and things of that nature.
And cooking.
And cooking, right. So water is a very, very important essential when you talk about emergency preparedness. And like you mentioned about having some foods available, canned foods, foods that's
non-perishable.
Non-perishable.
And periodically, you have to check the rations. Everything does have an expiration date,
Right.
but checking it periodically, making sure you're current, keeping a few gallons of water handy.
And not to mention in your kit, we talked about the emergency kit, cash. It's another important thing to have. Have some cash available in case you have to evacuate your home and go out of town or whatever it might be, because it could be an incident where you may have to evacuate your community and go to another community or maybe even another city.
A little further, correct.
Yeah, so having cash available, and medications is another important thing to have in your emergency kit. Insurance information is another important thing to have, because since we've been talking about insurance policies and things, and knowing what you're covered and what you're not covered under, having that policy in hand so that you can talk with your agent when you get to a safe haven to talk about the situation that you're with.
Well, you should mention that besides just having your insurance policies handy, what you might find also recommended is a list of your account numbers, credit card account numbers, as well as your bank account numbers, because sometimes those things you don't have at your fingertips, nor can you recall them fast enough.
Right, and of course always some extra clothing, because you might have to have a change of clothing for several days, and those things that people need to be prepared for, and think about these things. Put a checklist together and make sure everybody in the family knows what needs to be put in this emergency kit, because when a storm happens, you don't have a whole lot of time to try to find things, and if your home is damaged by flood or high winds or even tornadoes, some of that stuff you may not be able to find.
Right.
And since we're talking about storms, and we talked about storms just happening here in our area and across the southeast, these storms have been very, very violent. There's been lives lost, there's been homes destroyed, there's been families destroyed. And when you talk about tornadoes, and you mentioned about the warning alert, the tornado warning alert device is something that people need to take very, very important precautions with, because when that device goes off, it means that a tornado has been sighted. And you need to take the necessary precautions at that point, because you don't know how far out that tornado or that storm may be, but taking the necessary precautions could possibly save a life. That's very, very important. And not to mention fires. That's our profession. Fires can occur at any given time, in any given place, and it can destroy homes and families as well. And when you talk about fires and storm-related type of incidents, you always got to have some kind of emergency preparedness measures in place.
I agree. Proper planning is the most important aspect of being ready for something like that to happen.
Yes.
We certainly, on the insurance side, when we are going over policies, we certainly hope that you never have to use them, but it is nice to know that you have the coverage you need in case you do. Right.
And speaking of having the coverage you need, we was talking earlier, and you was talking about there was a name that you gave when you're talking about having coverage to replace income. Can you kind of touch on that?
Well, life insurance.
Right.
That's it. A lot of people think that they just need life insurance just to help with funeral arrangements. It's the big what if. We certainly want to never think about having a person pass away, but if they are the breadwinner of the family, what I feel we do a very thorough job is we make sure that if we have to deliver a check to a spouse, it is going to help replace their income. So it's called income replacement.
Okay, good. And that's a good way of thinking about it, because like I said, you know, when you have insurance coverages, you need to know what you have, and if you have a question, feel free to call your insurance agent. They can tell you everything that you need to know about that policy.
Yes, they should.
All right, now, we talked about the emergency preparedness side of it. Let's talk about when catastrophic event does take place.
The what if.
The what if, exactly. Now, after the event, what should a person do if they find that they have experienced damage or losses?
Well, first and foremost, assess your damages. If it's catastrophic, that's a little different nature than if you suddenly find a busted water pipe.
Right.
You know, still a catastrophe, because as homeowners, it's a lot to deal with, but two different losses. If it's a minor loss, assess the damages, call your agent as soon as possible.
Right.
Right away, if you were able to stop the pipe or stop the leak, patch the hole temporarily, get some estimates. If it's not life-threatening, find out what you're up against as far as how much is this loss going to be, so you can determine with your deductible whether it's worthy of having a claim or whether it's something you can take care of. On the other hand, if it is a catastrophic event and you're looking at a devastated amount, first and foremost, make sure that you've got your lives properly saved in a safe place. Call your insurance agent. They are your gatekeeper to making sure and helping you go through the whole claim process.
Right.
Your agent will have advice on what to do should you not be able to live in your home, as well as getting accommodations, as well as getting an adjuster out there ASAP.
Okay. And one other thing that's important too is taking photographs.
Yes. At our Allstate office, we have a household inventory checklist. Every homeowner gets one, and we strongly encourage every homeowner periodically to go through and make an inventory of your belongings. If it seems a little daunting and overwhelming or tedious, then take a video camera, go room to room, open your closets, open your drawers, because it's hard in a loss to remember everything you really had.
Oh yeah.
Go through the kitchen, open the cabinets, because sometimes you just can't remember the china pieces you had or the silverware. A lot of things we take for granted, and in stress we forget it. But having a recorded, itemized checklist so that you can go down and record any losses you might experience.
Okay, and that's some great information to have too, because being able to videotape or take pictures,
keep them in a safe place,
and keep a checklist of some of your most precious valuables will make a difference when you do make a claim. And being able, because like you say, you can't remember everything, and if it's a storm related loss, then some things are going to be missing. It could be
forgotten.
It could be in another community. It could be somewhere anywhere, but you just never know.
Yes, I was going to say, don't forget the garage. Don't forget the attic. don't forget the shutout back.
Right, exactly. Now, well, right before we close, we're about to run out of time, but can you talk about renter's insurance and how important renter's insurance is?
Yes, and thank you for asking. Renter's insurance, a lot of renters take for granted that because they're in somebody's home that it's automatically covered should something happen. That's not the case. A landlord will cover his dwelling. A renter should look at it like this. If they're living in a shoebox and you turn the shoebox upside down, everything that falls out is yours. That's what's covered on a renter's policy.
Okay, that's good information here, because I'm quite sure there are a lot of people who are out there that's renting, and they need to know that
It's
information.
very economical.
Exactly. Well, Michelle, we want to thank you once again
Thank you,
for being on
Chris.
the show
Thank
and
you very much.
providing that wealth of information about community awareness and also emergency preparedness and personal safety.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
And we'd like to thank each and every one of you for viewing another segment of Smoke Signals. Until next time, take care.